Hey guys, how's it going? Maniac Mower here. I'm sure you guys have seen this in the background of some videos. I knew I was going to get some questions about it. I haven't gotten very many questions about it, but I did get a couple. This is a 2006, I think it is, Poulan Pro EX300. No, this is not my mower. This is actually my brother's mower. He wanted something to drive around and use around the house because I have my garden tractors, and he decided he wants something to drive around and use. So he ended up being offered a lawnmower, a Husky, the one right there, for $100. I think it was $100. I forget how much it was, but he went to look at it. I wasn't there. I had no interest in this thing. This thing is not very good, if you ask me. I didn't go to look at it because I didn't really want him to buy it. Mom took him up and looked at it. She said no, not happening, which I was glad. And now you're probably wondering how it ended up here. Well, they ended up deciding they were going to, one of the guys who was getting rid of it decided he was going to scrap it. The other guy said, you know what, just give it to him. He wants it. If he wants it as bad as he does, he can have it for free. So unfortunately, it ended up here, and I was stuck working on it. So whatever. He ended up finding this Poulan up the road. There's a house that always has lawnmowers out front for sale. He works on them and sells them, kind of like what I do. And he came home and he showed me this. He had taken some pictures of it. He was asking me about it. He said, what do you think about this Poulan? I found it on the way home on the side of the road. Somebody had it for sale. They didn't have a price listed for it. It had a for sale sign on it. You can see the pictures. It had a bagger, and it also had the little yellow mower deck, which I've heard the yellow mower decks are rare, and it looked to be factory yellow. The yellow ones were heavier duty than the black mower decks that Poulans had. I'm not quite sure how common they are, but I've heard they're pretty hard to find. So I'd say that was a pretty good find. That was kind of what caught my eye, was it had a yellow mower deck on it. Story behind it goes, the guy who we ended up buying it from, we bought it for $300. It runs really good, drives really good, mows really good. No complaints about it. It charges the battery and it stays running. The story behind the mower was, I don't know about you guys, but I love to hear the stories people like to tell when it comes to these mowers, what they did during their lives, and you know, who owned them, how many owners they've had before. The owner I'm buying it off of has owned it and all that, what they did with it. The story behind this mower, this Poulan, was the guy's, I think his son-in-law owned it, and he had a airplane hangar he used it in. I don't know if he mowed the yard there or if he pulled stuff with it, but that was where it spent most of its life. And then he ended up retiring and he started using it at home. He ended up deciding he wanted to sell it. We went up and looked at it when he saw it and told me about it the first time. I called the guy and we settled on $300 for the tractor, which wasn't a bad price. I mean, it's a pretty decent little rig, but I'd have liked to get a little bit cheaper. I didn't buy it, so I didn't pay for it. He did, so I wasn't worried about it. I talked him down though a little bit, as much as I could. When we first went to look at it, we took the truck and the battery was dead. The battery in this mower is underneath the seat, which apparently most of the newer ones are like that nowadays. The older ones, like mine, they have their batteries underneath the hood, right there with the engine behind the gas tank. Also, I did some painting on the 73. I forgot to show you guys that. What do you think? I think it looks pretty good. Anyway, I need to do the 212 next. So that's how we ended up with it. There's a few things I do want to look at on it that just kind of drive me insane when it comes to using this machine. But other than that, it's been a pretty good little rig. The only thing that we've had to do with it in the time that we've owned it, we've only had it for maybe a month, is we had to replace the fuel filter on it, because you'd take it out and mow with it and it would act like it was choking itself out where it wasn't getting enough gas. So put a new fuel filter on it, and after that it has been running perfectly ever since. Oil, it does not burn oil. I don't think it burns any oil. I haven't checked it in a while. Yeah, it's still right where it was. It's under the add mark, but it's still right where it was, so it ain't been burning any oil. Overhead valve, 19 horse Briggs. I don't know if this is one of the IC models, but it is an Intech. Pretty good little motor. Nothing to complain about with it. It starts, runs, drives, mows, does everything it's needed. It's even pulled a lawn sweeper, and it does a pretty good job at it. Motor's not blown either. I did check compression when we first went to look at it, but unfortunately, when we first went to look at it, the battery was dead. So we ended up going back a different day. I told the guy, I said, if somebody else comes along and ends up deciding they're interested in it, don't hesitate, sell it. We're not worried about it. We'll just go look for something else. He said, okay. I don't really think anybody else came. Well, somebody else did come along and ask about it, but I don't think they really wanted it that bad. So I think that is just about it. One of the few things I want to fix on this tractor is the steering. As you can see, I don't think it is supposed to do that. I think a bearing or a bushing inside of here has went out. I'm not quite, I think there's a bolt underneath here. Yes, there is right there. Pop that out and the steering wheel should come off. I think there might be a bearing under there that's the problem. And then another thing is you let off the clutch and you kind of have to pull back on it for it to start going. So I think there's a spring down there that might need to be adjusted, or the belt even could need to be replaced. Possibly something needs to be tightened. So I do want to take a look at that and find out what's going on. That's just a couple things I really want to look at on here. So let's go on ahead, pop you guys in the stand. We'll get that steering wheel taken off there and take a look at it. I also want to go underneath of it and give it a good greasing, because I'm pretty sure that it hasn't been greased ever since it was new from the factory, or at least I've never noticed grease anywhere on it. So let me put you guys in the stand and we will start taking a look at it. I'm sure you guys all want to hear it run. One thing I don't like about it is you have to push the clutch pedal to start it. It's got a safety down there, which we're going to bypass. Let me let you guys listen to it. The problem I have with this engine is you have to throttle it up all the way for the choke to engage. I do not like that, but that's how things are nowadays. Ready? Just throttle it down as soon as it starts. It idles really nice. It doesn't surge. That's as far down as it'll idle too. I wouldn't mind popping this cover off and finding out if there's grass underneath of it or not. I really haven't looked at it all that much. Ready? Let's give her some throttle. It's got the 4 selector key switch. You turn the key switch to a certain position and you can mow while you're in reverse. It's just whatever when it comes to that. So I wouldn't mind getting rid of that too. So, but that's the machine pretty much. And this is how you get to your air filter, which I kind of wish mine were like this. It's pretty easy to get to. What do I want to do first? I feel like this cover is already loose, because it seems pretty loose. At least this is. I wonder why this is so loose. Well, there's a bolt, there's a bolt, there's a bolt. Let's just go ahead and pop that steering wheel off. I think the first thing we'll take a look at is the steering system for right now. What size bolt would you guys say that is? I'd say it's probably a, it looks like a 1/2 inch, but it might be a little bit smaller. I'm not sure if how messy the steering is supposed to be on there, but I think this is one of the later style Poulans. It's not exactly the newest, greatest model. It's an 06, but it looks about like the newer ones, so I'm going to guess it is a newer style mower. It's not Craftsman. This isn't one of them universal ones with the universal dash, like all the Craftsmans and MTDs. That's a long bolt. Does that need to come out? Nope. Let's see. Tell what the deal is in here. I feel like it might be supposed to be like that. At the same time, I don't think so. Let me take a look down there and see what I see, because I don't think all of us are going to be able to fit our heads, all 200 of us are going to be able to fit our heads in here. It looks like there is a plastic bushing in there, and it does look like it's wore out. Yeah, I think that plastic bushing right there, I think that's a plastic bushing, and I think that's our problem. It's a little white plastic bushing. It looks like it's wore out. For now, I think I'm just going to leave that alone. At least I know what the problem with it is now, but it doesn't really seem to bother it when you try to steer it as much as you'd think it would, you know, but for it having a piece out like that. But I think it'll be okay for what he's doing with it. So we'll put this back on here and then we'll tighten it down. I don't think I'm missing anything. There we go. It's about as tight as it was before. Now that we got that, I will probably end up replacing that with a bearing or maybe another bushing. Let's go on ahead and get it put onto the forklift. It does drive, like I said, so maybe I'll drive it over there so you guys can see. Let me get it over there. Actually, first, let's go ahead and just grease the front end of it. Get that done and taken care of while we're here. So let me do that real fast, and then we'll take it over and get it up on the lift. I don't think this tractor has one, but sometimes underneath on the bottom of the front axle there will be a grease fitting down there for where it pivots and one side goes up while the other side goes down in reverse like that. I think there might be one on here. I'm not sure and I haven't checked yet, but I think we will here later on. Ready? Oh, good, that's taking grease. There we go. Let's get this one over here. And after we get this one greased, we'll get her out onto the, there it goes. Okay, now it's taking grease. So hopefully that'll turn better. A lot smoother. I'm sure though after the steering system gets fixed, that might help it a lot too. Let's try steering it. Oh, that's definitely a lot better than it was. Let me move the mower decks off the forklift and we'll get this thing put up there. So as you guys can see, I'm down under here taking a look at this thing, and it's got a rack and pinion setup, I notice. It's also got a Peerless Tecumseh transmission in it. I didn't think it did. Where is this? I think right here is the spring that drives your foot pedal, right? I think that's what hooks up to the clutch. Take a look at it and find out. You guys tell me if that's moving or not. Yeah, that is. So that spring, I'd say that's the one that we need to diagnose and figure out what's going on with. Let me tip the forks real quick. I don't want this thing falling. Okay, so I am back. So that spring is what moves it. That is the spring I do want to adjust. Right here, I would not mind moving it back. Is there a, what's this? Another plate. If I can get this spring tighter, you know, then maybe it won't have as, that belt is still loose. Why is that belt so loose? Actually, wonder why that's so loose. Huh. Actually, wait a minute. Is this? No, maybe that's on the side it's supposed to be. Is this supposed to go around somewhere else? Because that belt seems pretty loose, actually. If I do say so myself. Yeah. Huh. Wonder why that belt's so loose. That just seems kind of interesting to me. If we were to get that tighter, I don't think that would help. I don't know. Is there something down here that we can adjust, or? Because that should not be able to turn. I have the belt. I have the clutch down up, so it should be putting tension on that belt right now. I wonder if that needs to have more pull on it than it has Because see, if I do that, it's got more, but if I do that, it doesn't. And this spring pulls on it. Yes, it does. So if we were to put this spring back further, I almost wonder if that would solve our problem. We could bring it down and put it in this little square right here. Where are you guys at? We could put it in this little... Oh, you're zoomed. No wonder. We could bring the spring down, put it in this little square right here. That might put some tension on this, but I don't really feel like having it get in that belt. Or just run it up and have it hold on to this. You know, it needs to be in a different place than it is now. Let me put you guys in the stand real quick and I'll mess with it. Let's take a look at this and see. I almost wonder, is there another way we can hook this spring? No, that's the only place. Let me shut this door. It's just blinding me. I can't see. That's better. It looks as if there's just one hole. What's right here? Oh, it goes back. If that just had a little bit more of a pull on it, you know, then that would maybe help it. Let's unhook this spring. Keep in mind, also, I have the brake. Let me grab a pair of pliers or something to rip it that way. Let's see if we can get this spring to come off. There we go. So, yeah, see now there's new tension. So this does put tension on that like I thought. We could put a smaller spring on that. I almost wonder if that would be what we need to do to get it to do what I want. Or we could just, oh shit, that's gonna start rolling. What's something else we can hook this spring up to? I just need it to, I want something adjustable. You know, I can put right here and hook and have it come down to the spring to put a little bit more tension on that than what it's got. Put as much tension as I feel it needs, and then I think I might have found something that might work. Actually, that puts it just right about where it was. So maybe not. Doesn't that? I think that just puts it back. Well, maybe it doesn't put it right back where it was. It feels like it's got a little bit more tension on it, but not a really big noticeable, you know, not a noticeable difference. So maybe not. Maybe something like this, but shorter. Or, nah. I was gonna say bent in, but nah. I don't think that would help me either. Should I have run it through right there? I can't tell if it's up there or not. I don't want to be in its way. There we go. Look at that. I'd say that puts a little bit more tension on it than it had. But at the same time, you know, that guard is in the way. If I'd have run it through the guard, that'd have probably been better. I almost wonder if I should just do that instead of leave it like I have it right now, you know? Because as little tension it doesn't need on it, the better. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that through there with it still hooked right there. Okay, maybe not. That was pointless. It does look about the same. That'll come onto it a little bit straighter than it did before. I think. There, like that. Now we bring this forward. Wow, this thing's got a lot of tension under it, doesn't it? If we can just get this to come back a little bit. I need something like a pair of needle nose pliers. Those John Deere's have some pretty heavy duty spring on them, but I don't think that would be wise to put on here because it might, you know, it might break the. I know I shouldn't do that, but I need it to come back here. Oh wait, never mind. Need a temporary hook. There we go. That comes in straight, but that's not how I want it. Let me get this put back before I forget where it goes. There we go. I'd say that puts just a little bit more tension on it than it did, or than it had. It definitely, oh, I see. Right there, there's a spring right there too. Maybe this isn't the problem, maybe that is. Trying to get all this grass out of here. I have a feeling this hasn't been washed in however many years old this is. I went ahead and I did that with the spring, and I also changed the way the hook went around because I noticed it looked like it was going to dig into the belt a little bit. So hopefully it won't do that now, but I do want to go ahead and just oil this assembly right here. That way it has a little bit of something to get it. Keep it from eating into itself, if you know what I mean. So maybe that'll make it steer a little bit easier too. I also want to look underneath on that front axle and see if there's a grease fitting on the bottom of it or not. We'll just pump a little bit on there. Not a lot, but just enough to give it a little bit of something, you know. You know, that way it's not tearing into the metal. There we go. So, hopefully that'll help a little bit with steering too. Let's go up to the front and see what it looks like under there. I do not see a grease fitting. There's no grease fitting, okay. I didn't think there was, but it didn't hurt to check. I didn't see any other grease fittings under here either, so I wonder, I don't think there is. So, okay. No grease fittings. Let's take this out. I want to get all the grass out of here, and I also want to pull that shroud off and look underneath of it and see if there's any grass inside of it or anything. So we'll do that next. Then after we do that, we will take it out, I guess, and drive it and make sure that fix works. You know what I just found? This tractor has grease fittings in the front wheels. I didn't think they did at all, to be honest with you. I thought they just had them in the axles. So that's pretty nice. Sucks they're back here like they are, so you really can't get to them, but hell, there's something else to grease. Let's see. It's taking grease, I can feel it. Give it a couple more pumps. There, I see grease. Let me grease the other side. Turn you guys this way. And we'll get this guy greased right here. I don't think this fitting is taking grease very well. Well, that sucks. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know. I gave it a little bit, so hopefully some did get in there. I don't guarantee much at all. If any did, but there, I see some poking out of the inside. There we go. Yeah, okay, I do see some poking out now, so I guess it did get grease. That person honking must have been a fan of the YouTube channel, saw I was out here, so because I've got the doors open. So let's take it out, I guess, and we will drive it around a little bit and see how it does. If it drives any better, we'll also pull that cover off the engine. I think while I'm giving this tractor dates, I'll give it a date with the garden hose or the pressure washer. Well, I put the pressure washer away for the winter, but maybe we can pull it back out. It does seem like it rolls a lot better now since that is greased. Won't really know for sure until we test drive. I am going to guess the bolts under here are probably 1/2 inch. Actually, maybe 7/16. And it looks like. Oh, I guess they do have to come out. How convenient. Yeah, 7/16, like I thought. Let's see. No. Okay, 3/8. I'd say it don't look too bad. Get that carburetor covered up and then maybe we can... Yeah, it definitely needs a good wash. I wouldn't mind coming in here with the pressure washer and giving it a good wash out. Stick something inside of there. That way nothing gets in. Do I have something around here I can put inside here? This might not do much, but it is better than nothing. I don't know if I'm going to end up washing it or not, seeing that I have a paper towel in there and put on it. Close the choke valve. Thinking about it. That wouldn't be a bad idea. I wouldn't mind popping that carburetor off and cleaning it out. You guys think we should start it? I hope you all said no. Let me take it around up front because that's where the air compressor is, and we'll give this a good date with the air compressor real quick. Got that all put back on there and greased. Let's just go on ahead and try and start it up. I'll take it down my usual test course and we'll just see how it does. Ready? Let's try going up a hill. I know this hill right here it struggled with. Let's try this and see how it does. I'll get you guys level. There we go. Let's try it now. Ready? It drives a lot better. Belt definitely seems a lot tighter. Still doesn't take off very good though. Well, there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Go check out my brother's channel, Mowing, Mudding, and More, I think is what it's called. You'll see more of this tractor on there. I really don't think you'll see many videos of it on here. At least not like this, me working on it. Underneath that engine shroud, it was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be full of grass, but it runs pretty good, drives pretty good. I still don't quite like that clutch, the way it's set up. You still got to pull back on it. It doesn't, the belt's tighter, but for whatever reason you still got to pull back on that clutch for it to want to go. So I'm guessing the problem might be something up there. Maybe a linkage needs to be shortened, or maybe there's an adjustable linkage or something. I'd also like to bypass that safety where you have to push the pedal down for the engine to start. So I think that is about it. So thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you guys for hanging out with me in the shop. And I think that is it. So take care.